Normally in aviation, we like to keep a lot of free space around us during flight, unless, that is, you are speed flyer Alexander Muhl from Switzerland. Alexander is a well-experienced speed flying pilot from the Wallenstadt region in the Swiss Alps, exploring new and adventurous locations to perform these amazing flights. Really incredible handling from Alexander. I still prefer to be surrounded by lots of big blue sky. It's season 5, episode 3 of the #1 airsports and aviation channel. I'm Regan Tetlow, and this is Airsports News. Narrowmine Gliding Club from Australia will be the host site for the Australian two-seat National Championships for 2021. The competition will run from the 13th to the 20th of February inclusive, with on-site registration available from Saturday, 13th of February. The competition will be a single-class event for both 20-metre two-seat class gliders and sports open class. The contest will be ballasted and run in accordance with the GFA national competition rules. The highest placed 20-metre pilots will be eligible for selection for the World Two-Seat Glider Championships. Gliding on the two-seat gliders is much more difficult than on the single-seat gliders because of the weight of the aircraft, but it brings much more joy not to fly alone in the cockpit. Last week we showed you a gliding aeromodelling world record organised by the enthusiastic pilots from the Chocofly organisation. Nearly 30 models of the Diana gliders were collected in one location, and this week I spoke with one of the pilots from this interesting organisation. It's Daniel Abele.
Now behind you there I can see these, is it Diana 2 copies?
Below that's the Diana 2 copies, and then above is the JS3. And then on top is a Libelle one, a smaller one, and all the way in the back you see a half scale one. Yeah.
So tell me all about Chocofly Pilots.
I kind of co-created over the years, you know. My family is a glider family all the way back to my grandfather. My dad also was a real pilot and then model pilot. Yeah. And I kind of took it on from there and started to create planes with some guys, and all of a sudden we are having this scale glider company.
Incredible. And you're creating them from complete scratch, from brand new?
Pretty much from full scratch. So there's quite a few people involved in terms of computer designing, aerodynamic designing, and composite work, of course. And I'm more or less holding the strengths together and delivering them according to customers' wishes and so on.
Fantastic. Any idea how many you've produced so far, Daniel?
Actually, we were chatting about that last winter, and we really have no clue, but a few hundreds for sure, yeah.
Well, you actually opened our show last week with your 27 Dianas all together there at one place. Tell me about that event.
So the idea got created. Basically, we had some customers which were asking how many Dianas there are around, and I thought it's a great opportunity to get all the pilots together to kind of share the experience and so on, and be able to fly with each other. So that's how we created this event, and then 27 guys showed up. I mean, we made that event quickly, so I could imagine that we can reach over 50 quite easily.
If you want to know more about this amazing aeromodelling world, you can watch the full-length interview with Daniel right after on our YouTube channel. Well, this is a story to touch your heart. It's always overwhelming when the passion of aviation binds two people together and gives them happiness. Always skeptical of Marshall Miller's human flight career, his father, Richard Kim Miller, surprises his son with a tandem base jump in Twin Falls, Idaho. The team take Miller for the ultimate thrill to help him better understand what drives his son to take the leap, and you can watch it on the Outside TV YouTube channel.
You can just tell he was as cool as the other side of the pillow.
You guys ready? Yeah.
Good.
Okay, here we go on 3, 2, 1. See ya!
Yeah!
Wow!
In the past, pilots of flying models could admire their planes or gliders only from the ground. That was actually the reason why many of them were so jealous about pilots who could take off and fly by themselves. But thanks to the development of drones, now the world of aeromodelling can be shown from a brand new perspective. Take a look. Shift 4 Payments and Dragon International founder Jared Isaacman has booked a trip with SpaceX that is being called the world's first all-civilian mission to space. Named Inspiration 4, the multi-day orbital flight is currently being planned for the fourth quarter of 2021. Isaacman, whose accomplishments as a pilot include 2 around-the-world speed records and over 100 air shows as part of the Black Diamond jet team, would lead the mission. He will use SpaceX's Falcon 9 launch vehicle and Dragon spacecraft Resilience, which completed its first crewed mission in November 2020. If you want to experience the amazing adventure of a lifetime, you don't have to go into space. For example, you could become a gas balloon pilot and take part in the legendary Gordon Bennett Coupe du Monde, which will start this year from Wrocław in Poland. I had the pleasure to talk to one of the pilots of the French 2 team about this amazing race. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Eric de Celeres.
Montpellier 2019. What an event that was. Beautiful place.
Yes, that was a very nice event. Not so good for us because we had to stop due to Munich traffic control.
Yes.
But the strategy of the race, the French command center was perfect. Our strategy was right. And we were expecting to fly 80-85 hours as the top 17s. Unfortunately, that's a race fact we had to learn, as well as the Polish team. The current world champion was in the same case as us. Because we choose the strategy to wait about 24 hours flying with 1 knot, 2 knots over Switzerland and France. And then we started to Eastern Europe on the first position, as well as the Polish team. That was one strategy because most of the others went through France and waited and then took the same direction, but a few hours later, like something like 5-6 hours delay.
It's a fascinating event. It really is. There's so much strategy in there. For anybody who's watching who's not familiar with it, it's the gas balloon race. It's the oldest FAI air sport. It's a long distance event. It's about going as far as possible. But you have to decide on your strategy because there's different winds at different altitudes. Tell me a little bit about that, Eric.
In fact, if the race is the same since 1906, let's say going the furthest point, the strategy is now 100% part of the race because you've got a lot of people in your team, a lot of brains looking at meteorology, trajectories and so on. 100 years ago or even 50 years ago, that was not that. They were flying like pure heroes and going somewhere in the rain, in the snow and so on. Today, our command center, and I guess it's the same for all teams, German ones, US one, Spanish one or others, they are all thinking a lot, a few days and a few hours in advance to look at the different strategy to avoid bad meteorology, or to get the quickest race or the slowest race to get to the furthest point.
The full-length interview with Eric is now available on our YouTube channel, where now you can find almost 90 other interviews with fantastic air sports athletes. So do aeroplanes need an airport or at least an airstrip to take off and land? Well, it depends which one. The American bush pilot Brian Turner released an epic video from the Alaskan mountainside where together with his friends, he pushes aircraft to the limits, landing in the snow. Electric aircraft developer Lillium has signed an agreement with multinational infrastructure operator Ferrovial to develop a network of at least 10 vertiports for an all-electric vertical takeoff and landing air taxi service. The network will cover strategic locations in all major cities across Florida, but the exact locations for the vertiports have not yet been announced. Lillium is also developing the 5-seat Lillium Jet eVTOL, which is expected to have a top speed of 300 kilometers and a range of 300 kilometers. Very sad news comes from the air transport community. New statistics of employment in commercial aviation under the pandemic pressure have just been devastating. Only 43% of the world's airline pilots are still in the same job they had before the COVID-19 hit, and some of those are loving their job less and getting paid less. A poll of 2,600 pilots by Goose Recruitment and Flight Global found the other 57% were unemployed and the other 10% are doing something else. For example, Cathay Pacific pilots recently accepted a 58% pay cut. Others said that the changes in operations, the constant threat of quarantine and fear of getting the disease are affecting them acutely, not to mention the fear of losing their jobs. Well guys, it's still not looking good at the moment, but I'm sure this year will get much better. And now, let's move into our Hero of the Week section. For the Love of Flight is an aviation documentary film that will show you everything about aviation that you want to know. It's an exploration of the real world of flying, not just the hustle and bustle of international airports and airline travel, often unknown to the public eye. Based on locations in and around Sonoma County and Northern California, this film exploring the smaller, more connected world of local airports, as well as the bigger picture of aviation, all with beautiful cinematic quality and editing which sets this film apart from others. The movie was recorded using only the voluntary contributions from viewers. The director planned he needed $9,000 to finalize the video, but because of the huge interest through the Kickstarter donations website, he earned more than $13,000. The film is free to watch on YouTube. On the 29th of January 1926, in Dayton, Ohio, John Arthur McCready took off in an experimental airplane, the Engineering Division XCO-5. McCready was attempting to exceed the existing FAI world altitude record of 39,587 feet, which had been set by Jean Calizot in Vaucluse in France 2 years earlier. Unfortunately, McCready reported that the official altimeter had indicated that he had reached a maximum of 36,200 feet. On the 31st of January 1951, Pan American World Airways captain Charles Blair Jr. flew a modified North American Mustang aircraft named Excalibur III from New York International Airport to London Airport in 7 hours 48 minutes with an average speed of 446 miles per hour. Captain Blair took advantage of the jet stream, flying as high as 37,000 feet. On the 1st of February 2003, the Space Shuttle Columbia, nearing the end of mission STS-107, traveling more than Mach 19.5 over Texas, suffered catastrophic structural failure and disintegrated. All 7 members of the crew were killed. During re-entry, the internal structure of the wing was no longer protected by the heat-resistant material of the leading edge. The extreme heat caused the structural failure. On the 4th of February 1902, Charles Lindbergh was born. He was an American aviator, military officer, author, inventor, and activist. At the age of 25 in 1927, he went from obscurity as a US Air Mails pilot to instantaneous world fame by winning the Orteig Prize for making a non-stop flight from New York City to Paris. Lindbergh covered the 33.5-hour flight alone in a purpose-built single-engine Ryan monoplane, the Spirit of St. Louis. Airsportsfan.com platform is still waiting for you guys. You can also use our email shown now on screen or contact with me directly on Twitter. That's it for now. I'm already looking forward to seeing you back here next week. And so until then, as always, stay safe and keep your eyes on the skies.